All right, we're going to be changing the belt on the Toro Power Shift, model 924. So anyways, I used it last week. We had about 6 inches of snow. I just bought this last summer, so I used it the first time. And the guy told me, he said the belt needs to be changed. Of course, I didn't change it. Waited till the very last minute. So we're going to do it now. I got a belt off eBay. Cheapest belt I could find. Delivered to the door, less than $7. So, we've got to take off this cover. One screw here, two on the other side. I think they're look like 1/2 inch. Got to loosen up. This is how you adjust the tension on the belt. So you loosen up this jam nut and turn this, which I think is, oh no, I think that's 1/2 inch. That's not 1/2 inch, that's probably 3/8. So let's loosen up this cover. We'll take these 3 bolts out and slide the cover up on the wires and let it hang. Let's get to it. So I've got the cover off, got it hanging here. Got that jam nut loose, that's loose. And I've also got the spark plug wire disconnected. Now, from what I've read, you're supposed to take these 2 bolts out here and remove this whole idler assembly. It doesn't say anything about taking this belt guide off. It just keeps the belts from flopping around, keeps them in place. Doesn't even show a picture of it in the manuals, but that's got to come off. So I'm going to disregard what the manual says and remove these 2 bolts. There's one here. There's one on the other side. And I got the heater going because it's pretty cold out here, but we'll get it done. Okay, so those 2 bolts were 1/2 inch. This belt guide just slips right off, so I'm thinking this belt should come right off. Got to slip it around the back of the pulley. It looks like it's clear. I don't see anything. Looks like there's very little clearance. But let's see if it comes out. I think I'm gonna have to use 2 hands. Yeah, so I couldn't get the belt out by slipping it off the back of the pulley. There's just not enough clearance in there. So we're going to go ahead and take these, pull this idler pulley assembly out of here. So I guess it's this bolt, that bolt, and this whole thing is supposed to slip out. Let's see. Okay, we got the idler pulley assembly disconnected, 1/2 inch, both 1/2 inch bolts. The belt guide, both 1/2 inch. 2 washers on each of these bolts. No washers here. Let's pull this thing. Let's see what happens. Okay, just like that. All one piece. Nothing falls apart. Don't be afraid to pull it out. That's what it looks like. You can see the belt's been rubbing up against here. Couple springs there. Anyways, that's simple enough. Now the belt should come out. There's a little plastic piece right down there. That's where there's very little clearance between the pulley and the belt. Okay, so I got the belt out. Just had to pull on it with 2 hands. Comes out behind the pulley, right that groove right there. It's gonna be a little harder to get it on in there. So here's the old belt. Here's the new belt right here on top. I mean, it's very hard to tell that it's stretched. They both look the same, of course. That's, yeah, I mean, you can't really tell. Not like by that. Yeah, when I do that, I can tell the old belt is stretched a little bit. Not a lot, but just enough. So it also said you're supposed to take this bolt off here. I don't know why, if you're just replacing the auger belt like me. If you're replacing the traction belt, you have to take this bolt off and pull. This whole section will pull out once this pulley comes off. This whole middle spacer there will come out, and then this belt will be easy to get off. But I don't see a need to pull that off as long as I can get that belt back on there. Alright, so I got the belt on the bottom pulley. The only spot you're going to have a problem is getting it right there. There's very little clearance, but it's not that hard. I just pushed on it. I had a long tire iron. I just pushed the belt underneath the pulley right there. And it should be able to slap it right on there. It's on. Yeah, it's on. Yeah, it's on. Now, put the idler pulleys back in place and adjust the tension. Okay, so we've got the belt guide back in place. Got this pulley assembly back in place, centered nicely. Now we have to adjust the belt. So when you push down on the auger handle, you have to check that spring clearance right there, that spring moving up and down. You're supposed to push down on the handle, put this feeler gauge in there, which is a 0.25 millimeter or 0.010. So you push down on the auger handle and slip that in there and see what the tension is. I can't even get it in there now with it pushed with it. Okay, I'm gonna have to set the camera down, and then the only other thing you have to check. Okay, pulley. Here's this rest thing here. This has to be more than 1/8 of an inch, which it is. Well, it's over 1/2 an inch. When it's released, not when it's pushed, when it's released. So we're good there. Let's check the tension. Okay, so I've got the handle depressed. You're supposed to take your feeler gauge, and if you can slip it in there when the handle's down, you're good. If it's too tight, you need to loosen the jam nut and move it, rotate this, tighten it basically, move it up. So as the belt loosens, this is the only adjustment I have left to work with, which is about 1/2 inch or so. So that's a little concerning, but we'll see what happens. And that's basically it. The only other thing you have to look at is the clearance on that stop. So you take the handle, loosen it, if your clearance between here and here is over 1/2 inch, I'm sorry, 1/8 inch, you're good. The only way to find out is wait for the next snow. So it's December 1st, and I'm sure we have plenty on the way.